The world did not end when Cronus made his choice. It became quieter. And quiet is far more dangerous. Time moved forward, but it did not flow. It dragged. Each moment stretched thin, as if the world itself were reluctant to advance into what came next. The Titans felt it first, not as knowledge, as tension. The sky remained still. The seas did not rage. The mountains did not tremble. But beneath the calm, something waited. Rhea felt it more than any of them. She had watched Cronus change, not suddenly, not violently, but steadily. His eyes lingered longer now. His silence carried weight. His presence pressed against her like an unspoken question. She loved him once. Perhaps she still did. But love does not blind the earthborn. It sharpens awareness. Rhea knew what the prophecy meant. She did not need the earth to whisper it. She had seen the narrowing of paths. She had felt the future recoil. And now, within her, something stirred. Life. The first child of Cronus grew beneath her heart, and with it came the echo of inevitability. Cronus knew. He did not need to ask. He felt the shift in the air around her, the way time bent subtly when she walked, the way possibility gathered close as if drawn toward her. He told himself he was prepared, that this was expected, that he had already chosen. But choice is easier in theory than in presence. The day came without ceremony. No storm, no sign, no warning. The first cry broke the stillness of the world. It was not loud, but it was pure. And in that purity lay everything Cronus feared. The sound reached him like a blade sliding into thought. Not painful, unavoidable. Rhea held the child close. Her expression was not defiance. Not yet. It was protection. Cronus entered the chamber slowly. The air felt heavy, not with magic, with decision. He looked at the child, small, fragile, unaware of prophecy, unaware of destiny. In that moment, the future did not look threatening. It looked innocent, and that made it worse. The prophecy did not speak. It did not glow. It did not announce fulfillment. It simply existed between them. Rhea did not plead, not at first. She searched his face, hoping to find hesitation, hoping to find memory, hoping to find the God she once knew. Cronus did not look cruel. He looked resolved. He knelt, slowly, deliberately. "Peace," he whispered. Whether to the child or to himself, even he did not know. The chamber felt smaller. Time slowed further. The world seemed to hold its breath. Rhea felt it then. The truth. Not that the prophecy was unfolding, but that fear had already won. Cronus reached forward, not in rage, not in madness, but in certainty. The act that followed did not shatter the world. It hardened it. The cry stopped, and silence returned. But it was no longer the same silence. It was heavier, permanent. Cronus rose slowly. There was no triumph in his face, no relief, only calculation. One future had been removed. He told himself this was necessary, that the world would thank him in its continued stability, that peace required sacrifice. Rhea did not speak. She did not scream. She did not curse him. She watched. And in that watching, something changed. Love retreated. Something colder took its place. Gaia felt the shift ripple through stone. The earth did not roar. It grieved. The prophecy did not weaken. It sharpened. For fate does not depend on a single path. It adapts. Cronus did not see that yet. He believed prevention had begun. He believed the future could be dismantled piece by piece. He did not yet understand. The more he tried to erase destiny, the more destiny concentrated. The Titans sensed something had changed, not through announcement, through absence. Where once possibility stretched wide, now it coiled. Where once hope flickered, now it hid. Cronus returned to his throne, The world remained orderly, stable, silent, but silence can conceal growth. Rhea remained alone in the chamber long after he left, her hands still, her gaze fixed, her heart no longer uncertain. She understood now. This would not end with one child, and neither would she. The first cry had faded, but fate does not retreat. It waits. The second time was easier, not for Rhea, for Cronus. The world did not tremble when she carried again. It did not whisper. It did not protest. It had already learned the pattern. Time moved forward, and with it, inevitability. Rhea did not speak of what had happened. Not to Gaia, not to the Titans, not even to herself. Grief, when repeated, becomes something else. It becomes knowledge. She felt the life grow within her again, and this time she did not pray. She calculated. Cronus watched her more closely now, not with suspicion, with vigilance. He told himself he was protecting everything, the earth, the sky, the balance. He believed that if he removed each possible threat before it matured, the future would eventually surrender. He did not understand that fate does not weaken through repetition. It strengthens. The second child came in silence. No cry echoed this time. Rhea held the infant tightly as if memorizing warmth. Cronus entered before she could speak. He did not hesitate. He did not kneel. He did not whisper. He simply acted. The chamber remained intact. No storm, no earthquake, no divine protest. But something shifted in Rhea. Not heartbreak, not horror, precision. She began to observe him, his breathing before entering the chamber, the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands steadied themselves before reaching forward. He was afraid, not of the child, of possibility. The third time, she was ready. The Titans noticed. Oceanus grew quiet. Hyperion's light dimmed more frequently. Coeus began to question aloud what none dared answer. But none confronted Cronus. Because stability remained. The world was not burning. The seas were not raging. The skies were clear. And so, silence continued. The third child came beneath a sky unnaturally calm. Rhea did not cry. She did not plead. She handed the infant to Cronus herself, and in that gesture, something broke within him. Not remorse, recognition. She was no longer reacting. She was watching. The act repeated. The chamber fell silent once more. But the earth felt heavier. Gaia did not roar. She listened. The prophecy did not fade. It sharpened further. It did not require a specific child. It required inevitability. The fourth time, Cronus began to feel it too. Not doubt, pressure. The world around him felt narrower, as if corridors were closing, as if unseen forces were rearranging themselves. Rhea no longer trembled when she carried. She moved carefully. She walked slowly. She measured time. She had begun to understand something critical. Cronus was predictable. Fear creates routine. Routine creates vulnerability. The fourth child was taken as the others had been. But this time, as Cronus turned away, Rhea smiled. Not with joy, with clarity. She had found the weakness. Cronus believed repetition meant safety. He believed each act reduced the probability of downfall. He believed inevitability could be worn down like stone under water. He did not see that inevitability was adapting. The Titans grew restless. Not because they knew the prophecy, because they felt imbalance. The seas shifted strangely. The stars aligned too rigidly. The winds felt contained. The world was too controlled, and control suffocates. Rhea began to speak with Gaia again, not aloud, through stillness, through touch, through long hours spent kneeling upon the earth. And Gaia answered, not with words, with patience. The fifth time came beneath a sky streaked with crimson dusk. Rhea did not allow Cronus near the berth immediately. She delayed. She adjusted time. She learned the rhythms of guards, the steps in corridors, the pauses in Cronus's attention. For the first time, she was not merely a mother. She was planning. Cronus sensed something, but fear had trained him to look outward, not inward. The fifth child was taken, but something had changed. Cronus felt it, a tension in the air he could not name, as if something had slipped beyond his awareness. He began to patrol his own palace. He began to watch shadows. He began to question loyalty. Fear had moved from future to present. Rhea saw it, and she understood. The prophecy had not yet been fulfilled, but it was closer than ever, not because a child survived, but because Cronus was weakening. Fear eats the one who feeds it. The Titans gathered more often now. Whispers filled halls. Questions rose. Not about rebellion, about stability. If the world required this much control to remain balanced, was it truly balanced? Cronus stood upon a high cliff overlooking his dominion. The world below remained orderly, but he felt something beneath it. Movement, resistance, possibility. The prophecy had never promised immediate downfall. It had promised eventual replacement, and now, for the first time, Cronus wondered if inevitability could take many forms. Rhea carried once more. And this time, she did not fear him. She had measured the corridors. She had studied the guards. She had mapped the timing of his vigilance. She had memorized the blind spots. This would be different. Not because she was stronger, because she was patient. The chamber was prepared, but not as before. The air felt heavier. The earth felt alert. Cronus approached, but he did not enter immediately. He hesitated, and hesitation is where fate enters. Rhea felt the life within her shift, not with fear, with timing. The child came into the world beneath a silent sky, and for a brief moment, possibility widened again. Rhea did not cry. She did not rush. She waited. Cronus entered, but something was off. The air felt different. The chamber felt slightly altered. He stepped forward. Rhea held the infant close, but her eyes did not plead. They calculated. For the first time, Cronus saw not a grieving mother, but an opponent. The pattern had changed, and fate was listening. By the time the sixth child began to grow within Rhea, the world had already changed. Not outwardly. The mountains still stood. The seas still moved. The sky remained clear. But beneath the calm surface of existence, something had begun to shift. The pattern had repeated too many times, and repetition creates knowledge. Rhea no longer walked the halls of the Titan palace as a grieving mother. She walked them as a strategist. Every corridor had been measured, every shadow understood, every guard memorized, every moment counted. Cronus believed he understood the future. He believed inevitability could be dismantled piece by piece, child by child, possibility by possibility. But he misunderstood something fundamental. Destiny does not resist directly. It redirects. Gaia felt it long before the others. The earth does not hurry. It prepares. Rhea began spending longer hours alone upon the ground, her hands pressed against stone, her breathing slow, her thoughts steady. And Gaia answered. Not with words, but with direction. Images formed in Rhea's mind, paths through distant lands, hidden places untouched by Titan rule, caverns older than the sky, mountains where time moved differently, places where possibility could hide. And in those visions, one place appeared again and again. Crete, an island surrounded by restless seas, its cliffs sharp, its caves deep. its silence protective. "There," Gaia whispered. "The future could breathe." Rhea understood. For the first time since the prophecy had been spoken, hope did not feel fragile. It felt possible. But possibility requires deception, and deception requires precision. Cronus had grown more watchful than ever. He moved through the palace unpredictably now, his patrols irregular, his attention sharp, his suspicion quiet but constant. Fear had turned him into something new, not merely a ruler, a sentinel against time itself. Rhea studied him carefully, not as a wife, as an obstacle. She learned when his thoughts drifted toward distant horizons, when his vigilance weakened, when certainty lulled him into temporary stillness. And slowly, a plan formed. Not quickly, not recklessly, but inevitably. The birth would have to occur away from him. The child would have to disappear before Cronus arrived, and something would have to take its place. The idea came slowly, like stone rising through soil, simple, unavoidable, perfect. A stone, something weighty, something silent, something believable. Cronus did not examine closely. He did not linger. He acted, always quickly, always decisively, always predictably, and predictability is the weakness of fear. The time approached. The sixth child grew stronger. And with that growth came pressure, not only within Rhea, within the world itself. Gaia stirred. The earth grew restless. Subtle tremors passed through distant lands. The seas shifted slightly against their shores. The stars aligned in patterns too precise to ignore. The prophecy was narrowing. Cronus felt it, but he did not understand it. He believed the tension meant danger. He believed the danger meant urgency. He believed urgency meant vigilance, and so he watched even more closely, which meant Rhea would have only one chance. The night arrived without warning, the air heavy, the sky unnaturally still. Even the winds seemed reluctant to move. Rhea left the palace quietly, not alone. Gaia guided her steps, through hidden paths, through silent valleys, across lands that remembered older gods. The journey to Crete felt longer than distance could explain. Time stretched, moments thickened. The future seemed to lean forward in anticipation. And then, the caves appeared, ancient openings carved into mountain stone, dark, deep, protective. The earth welcomed her, not with sound, with stillness. Inside the cave, the world felt different, distant, muted, safe. And there, the child was born. The cry echoed through the cavern, strong, clear, alive, not fragile like the others, not quiet like the lost ones. This cry carried something new, possibility. Rhea held the child close, and for the first time in many years, she allowed herself to hope. This child would live. Gaia ensured it. The cave sealed sound within stone. The earth concealed presence from distant sight. Even the air seemed to protect the infant's breath. This child would not be taken, but Cronus would come. He always came. And so the final step remained. Rhea wrapped the stone carefully, layer by layer, cloth over surface, warmth over coldness, weight over shape. From a distance, it would be enough. Cronus approached sooner than expected. Fear drives speed. Rhea returned to the palace just ahead of him, her breathing controlled, her expression steady, her arms holding the wrapped stone. Cronus entered without announcement. As always, his eyes moved quickly, searching, measuring, confirming. He saw the bundle, and relief crossed his face. Too quickly to notice, the act repeated. But this time, fate did not retreat. Cronus turned away, believing the future had been delayed once more, believing inevitability had been weakened again, believing order had been preserved. He did not know. That destiny now breathed beneath the mountains of Crete. The prophecy had survived, and survival is all destiny requires. Far away, the infant Zeus slept beneath stone ceilings older than memory, guarded by silence, protected by earth, hidden from time. Cronus returned to his throne, certain, victorious, unaware, and for the first time since the prophecy had been spoken, the future smiled.